Welcome to the Lifting Lounge podcast. Join your hosts, Josh Parkin and Jack Buffery, as they give you the knowledge and the tools to take your physical and mental performance to the next level.
Hello.
Afternoon. Literally 2 seconds ago, we were sounding like
Yeah.
the illest of men. I don't mean ill in the rap terminology either, but yeah, it's all good.
Right, before we get started, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, man! It is the 25th of December. Well, we're talking into the future right now, but yeah, it's Christmas Day.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Anyone that's listening on Christmas Day, I mean, fucking hell, your day must be boring. Yeah.
We feel sorry for you, but we're here for you at the same time.
Yeah, we're always here. So Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful time enjoying your Christmas. And if you don't like Christmas, then just have a nice day anyway. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into it, today's episode is going to be about relaxing, and our current news is about God of War, but it's also going to be talking about different various game bits. Fit Talk is all about our favorite workouts of the year. Study Time is about sleep and dementia, nice and cheery for Christmas Day. And our topic today is our biggest takeaways from a year of podcasting and starting a new business, because we've been at it now for about a year. So I figured, why not reflect? Have a bit of a day of
I like that.
But Jack, first things first, how are you doing, man? How are you doing? I haven't really seen you, so how have you been?
Well, I'm exceedingly excited right now for one main reason, is that because we are essentially time traveling right now,
Yeah.
while the day this is released, I don't care about presents and stuff like that. Although I'm excited to see Kimberly's face when I give her some prezzies. But I'm going to be cooking. This is just for me and Kimberly, mind. I'm going to be cooking a joint of beef, a joint of gammon, and a whole chicken, just for the two of us, as well as pigs in blankets, sausage stuffing mix, and all the trimmings. Man, I am looking forward to Christmas Day.
Mate,
I love cooking Christmas dinner.
That sounds so good. When we come over yours as well, I have got 2 joints of beef at the moment. One's a rolled sirloin.
Oh,
So I could bring one of them over and you can use that to cook.
Nice. Well, I haven't used any of the meat from that meat box yet because I keep on forgetting to defrost it. So I'm using mainly them to do the Christmas and New Year's dinner with. And I'm going to be cooking. I might be cooking 3 Christmas dinners within 4 days, or on the Boxing Day, I might do a curry for Kimberly's dad. So yeah, we'll see.
That sounds lovely. We want to know what you guys are having for Christmas. What your Christmas meals are, if you have a regular tradition. I mean, I'm going over the in-laws, and they always just put on, like, the amount of food they get is just ridiculous. So we'll see. I'll probably come out of it 2 stone heavier, but I'm excited for it. I'm just gonna take it on. I'm gonna go.
I love
for
leftovers. I love leftovers, man. Like, that is one of my favorite parts. There used to be a time when I was still living with my mum, and many years after, actually, when I'd go over and like stay the night on Christmas night, and I would literally just have bowls of meat and gravy the next day, and then bowls of meat and gravy, and then maybe a Yorkshire pudding to stuff it in and eat it like a sandwich, and it was just absolutely amazing. I fucking love that shit.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I love pigs in blankets. I don't know why pigs in blankets only come out at Christmas time. I could eat them every week for sure.
Do you know what? I'm not overly keen. They're not my favorite thing. I like them, but I think they're a bit too overpowering on a plate. My speciality is sprouts, because I don't like sprouts. But when I cook them, I roast them in butter with bacon bits and chestnuts, and they're just good, man. They're just good.
Wow.
So
My speciality is the gravy, mate. I'm the gravy king.
okay, this is good.
It makes your balls tingle when you eat my gravy. I'm telling you.
That sounds a bit weird, but yeah, okay. Everyone line up for Josh's ball gravy. Ball tingling gravy, maybe. There you go.
Yeah.
That one's better.
That's better.
But yeah, other than that, it is Christmas Day technically, but right now it is the 18th. But yeah, I've got a few days left of work, and yeah, then I've got 9 days off. I mean, me and you've got a
Mm,
few things going on. Probably
mm,
2 full days, I would say. Well, let's say 2 full days, like 5 hours. I would say something around there
mm,
before we start burning out and hallucinating.
mhm.
I'm going to try carry on working out every day throughout Christmas period as well as my cold plunge. And yeah, I'm on currently on day 395 into 400 till 40. So
Oof,
mm,
mate,
it's good.
mate,
mm.
shit.
So I don't know if you remember, Josh, but when I first started counting down, it was 500 days till 40.
Hmm.
That
It's
doesn't
gone
seem
quick.
very long ago. Yeah, man, that 100
Yeah,
days has gone quick. It really doesn't seem that long ago. So
really
that
quick.
time again, obviously, I'll be, a quarter of the way into it. So I'm already a fifth of the way from when I first started. Mm.
Mate, this entire year has gone quick. This
It
entire
has.
year has flown by, and it was
Yeah.
why kind of this episode is what it is, and it is
Mm,
absolutely just flew by.
mm.
But yeah, it's all exciting stuff.
Yeah. So, Josh, sometimes. Brilliant. Sometimes, sometimes my tip is just about going out and getting it. Sometimes it needs to just take a moment to relax and enjoy the process.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Maybe you
yeah.
can help me.
You need to stop taking those blue pills.
Hey, look, I'm nearly 40. Okay,
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I guess you actually tip relaxes more than anything nowadays. We did
Oh
we did
God.
establish a few episodes back that you need to be sponsored by Hims. So yeah, that's a new rumor we're getting out there.
Is Hims, out of curiosity, I don't know, is Hims like one of those cheap knockoff things, like what you see in condom machines in toilets, or is it supposed to
No,
be a proper Viagra type thing?
Hims is the thing that all podcasts keep getting sponsored by. They
Oh,
keep getting
really?
sponsored, which is like this new male health, like ED, hair loss, all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not actually just a full-on
Mhm.
ED pill. It's
I
not like
think
it's
it
supposed
does
to
a
be like a Viagra.
I think it had no. I think it has a mixture of things. I don't know, but I think it's something along the lines of ED. I thought you would know. You know, it's up your
I didn't
alley.
know. Do you know what? Funny enough, I actually don't know. So yeah, I will look into
Yeah, great.
it. Anyway, tell me how to enjoy my tip.
Okay, so my tip for today is to relax and enjoy. Now, I'm saying that because it's Christmas Day, guys. It is now time to fucking. I know sometimes Christmas Day can be mental, but it's now time to relax and enjoy your time. But also, I was listening to a podcast this morning actually with Chris Williamson, the Modern Wisdom podcast, and a guy. I'm going to butcher his fucking name now. Bedros Kuelian.
Bedros Keuilian, his name is.
Bedros Keuilian, yeah, and he's got
Mhm.
a podcast out at the moment. It's called "Man Up and Get Your Life Together." So I listened to that. Really good podcast episode actually.
Mm,
But they were talking about you need to enjoy your successes more. The things you, even the small things, the things you do well. It can be very easy for if you're like this type A. Oh, you've got one of his books. Of course you
I've got
have.
two of his books. Yeah, of course I
Yeah.
have.
So, if you're like a type A personality, always doing stuff, trying to be entrepreneurial or trying to produce, it can be very easy to not enjoy your successes because you're moving
Mm,
straight on to the next thing. When actually, it's a better thing to enjoy them as much as you possibly can, and because that creates a reward system in your head. Yeah, that creates that system where you're going, "Fuck, that felt so good. I love that so much. I want to do more." Whereas if you just keep thinking that's not enough, that's not enough, that's not enough, I need to do more, I need to move on, that creates that can almost create animosity towards what you're doing, or it can create more stress. So every little win, enjoy it. It works with your fitness. Every little win. You actually got to the gym today and worked out. That's a win. You made a PB in your lift. That's a win. You finished a set. That's a win. Whatever it is you're doing, great. Fucking enjoy it. Relax. Enjoy it. Spend just 5 minutes, if that's all you have, meditating on the fact of how you've done something good, and that will make you feel better and make you want to do it more.
Yeah, and it's definitely watch the way you celebrate it, because some people will celebrate going to the gym for a week by going out on a fucking bender for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. What you just said, Josh, is actually perfect. I reckon is meditate on it for a few minutes, or even
Mm.
just the simple act of saying "fuck yeah, well done, you've done well," like
Mm.
to yourself. Saying that to yourself is a really good way of doing it, because most people don't take the time to do that. They're like, okay, right, that's done, what have we got to do next? And it literally is that mindset. We're guilty of it, I know for a fact.
Oh
I
yeah.
am, and yeah, I know you are as well. So most people are, but every now and then I think we're actually quite good at trying to congratulate each other and then
Mm.
recognizing what we've done together, like, quite often.
Yeah.
But I know when I'm just in my own head, I'm like, right, that's that one done, what's next? And just
Yeah.
taking that minute to say, yeah, fucking good, well done, you've done that. That's a nice thing to be able to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what we're getting at here, and what you're kind of getting at with not going out and binging on a weekend to celebrate, is it needs to be an internal process rather than an external one. So
Mm,
people celebrate by externally buying themselves chocolate or going out on a piss or something like that. When actually it needs to be more, and that's, you're not really telling yourself that way. You're just going, oh, I deserve this now, instead of going, instead of actually telling yourself inside, thinking, fuck, you've done really well. And
hmm
because there's a lot of people that'll think they're celebrating by eating loads of chocolate or buying a meal, and think that that's how they're treating themselves, but they don't have this internal voice that is their number one cheerleader. Yeah.
hmm
So it's having that internal process where you go, well done, good work, you can have a little 5 minutes, you've done well, and then you move on, rather than just going, all right, I've done that, I need to move on now. If you don't keep going, you're shit, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's a big difference between internal and external motivation. For example, if you do go out celebrating with food and drink and stuff like that, what you actually run the risk of doing is not celebrating the habit that you've just done, but wiring your head to think of food and drink as a reward mechanism, which isn't really a
Yeah.
good way to do it either. You want to be able to, like you said, internally, intrinsically understand your success, so you can congratulate yourself on it.
Mm.
And then that becomes its own reward in a way, because you actually start to feel good and you start to get that endorphin rush of achieving good shit.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said, it's something that me and you, we both need to improve on. Is something that, I mean, everything's a process. So it's something that I'm going to try and improve on. For instance, me and Rachel sat down yesterday and just kind of went over finances, and I hadn't really tallied up. I started a new business. I haven't really tallied up what I've been doing, and I'd just been going fucking go, 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 work, work, work. Um, and we tallied it up, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm doing actually really fucking well. Maybe I
Mm,
should relax. You know,
mm,
maybe I can fucking chill out now." So it's stuff like that. Is taking the time to analyze the data and say, "Oh, you're okay. Enjoy it." But
mm.
yeah,
I think
so
having points of reference is a good thing. Delineate
mm,
where you should congratulate yourself as well, so you've actually got a marker. So, for
mm,
instance, because it's so new for you, you probably just went ham and fucking just started working off without an
oh
idea
yeah,
of what you were trying to hit. You were just like, right, shit, I've
mm,
got this work to do. I'm going to get it done. And now you're in a better place than where you thought you were. So
mm.
celebrate that. But now you've got a reference point of, okay, cool. So where do I set the next goal for that in reference to everything else I'm trying to do? And that's just it's just a good practice then.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move on to current news, or more likely, Geek Corner. And first things first, I saw a rumor earlier that apparently, and I brought this up because I know that you're definitely into Egypt history,
Mm,
mythology, that sort of thing. And God of War, the God of War franchise, the next game is rumored to be based on Egyptian mythology. So they've just done, obviously the original God of War was all Greek, and then they've just done the Nordic mythology. and now they're looking to go into Egyptian. And the new kind of direction it went with the Nordic stuff. I really like some of their. I've not played the games, but I've watched some videos, and I like their interpretations of those characters in Norse mythology. So I'm really interested to see what they do with the Egyptian mythology, if that is the route they're taking.
I mean, yeah, if that does become a thing, I might have to. I don't know whether any of the other games, because there was like 4 before they rebooted it. I don't know if any of them have visited Egypt at all, but I
No,
would
it's all
definitely.
Greek.
Is it? So, oh, right, okay. So it was only the last 2 that are Nordic, and the ones before
Yeah,
that were Greek, were they? Okay.
Greek. Yeah.
So yeah, I might. Yeah, I would like to check that out. I'm actually surprised at myself that I haven't tried to put more effort into playing the first of the new Assassin's Creed games that was set in ancient
Mm,
Egypt, because I think that would be up my street. But I don't know. One of my biggest problems with games right now is they're just too fucking intricate. But
yeah,
I
too
did
big.
give, yeah, they're too big, and then you've got the point system and like the RPG elements where you have to with all the skill trees. And I was actually over someone's house the other day, and they showed me this game called Path of Exiles that they were playing. And oh my god, I have never seen anything like it. There must have been, if there was less than 300 different paths on this skill tree, I would be surprised. It was just
Wow.
ridiculously insane. It is made for people who love that sort of thing. But yeah, when the Assassin's Creed started going RPG, I was like, oh yeah, that's a bit weird. Otherwise, I probably would have played it. I did give the first of the new God of Wars maybe 2 or 3 hours, and I actually quite enjoyed it. I just didn't want to carry on paying for PS Plus, which is why I didn't finish it. But they're
Uh,
impressive games and they're impressive storytelling. I think the last thing I remember was fighting Loki, which was quite cool. But if it goes to Egypt, I will definitely check it out. Whether I'll play it, I don't know at the moment.
I think you'd enjoy it because they are linear games as well, aren't they? So
Yeah,
they're
they are. I think one of the things I'm finding now, though, I'm preferring more grounded, within reason games. So, for instance, Resident Evil 4 is one of the highest rated games ever, to be fair, let alone Resident Evil games.
mm,
I didn't enjoy it so much because it adds almost something more of a supernatural element, whereas the first 3 are like science experiment gone wrong. I can get on board
mm,
with that, which is why I kind of liked it. I think literally the only fantasy thing I like is Legend of Zelda, and that's just because of nostalgia.
mm.
Everything else, I like to be a bit more grounded, like the Tomb Raider trilogy as well. I like them, even though they've got supernatural elements. They're quite grounded and good. Yeah, I've definitely, my tastes have definitely changed, I would say, over the years. So I'm not. I think it's, if I was still a hardcore gamer, then yeah, straight it'd be bang up my street. I would be trying all of this stuff, but because I only have a limited time with the games I like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just go for different things.
Yeah, you are definitely more like future dystopia or war based or something along those lines than you. That's your kind of
Yeah, I like zombie apocalypse things, and I like,
yeah.
but again, it can't be like if it was magical zombies that are raised from the dead by a mage. No, I wouldn't like that. But if it's science experiment gone wrong zombies, then yeah, fucking, I'm well up for it. And then it's like Splinter Cell, Metal Gear Solid, and
Yeah.
like Tomb Raider games and Ghost Recon, stuff like that.
What's Have you ever played DayZ?
Yeah. Have you ever played it?
No, so I garden with a guy on big jobs. I bring him in for a day, and he's my age, and he plays it all the time online. He doesn't shut up about it.
So if I played it during lockdown, did he tell you what the premise of it is?
No, he just said you're online, you team up, and you've got to try and survive and take other people out. I don't really know.
So you wake up on a beach with no clothes, no weapons, nothing like that. You have to
Mm,
go around and scavenge everything. It is sparse as fuck. Everyone is going to try and kill you. You get a few people who might like it. But the very first time I played it, I ran into, it's a big map as well, and it is hard to
mm,
find stuff. You have to feed yourself, water yourself, and make sure you like don't soil yourself and stuff like that.
mhm.
The first time I played it, I climbed a tower, and then I was climbing back down it on a ladder, and I was like, I wonder if you can do this faster. So I slid down the tower, like the ladder, quite fast.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't wearing gloves, it ripped my hands apart, and then I bled to death about 10 minutes later. That's how
Oh,
intricate it is.
wow.
Like if
That's
you cut
really
yourself, and then yeah, man, it's like it is proper in depth. So if there was a cheat where you could start with like a few things, then I would probably like it a bit more. But I got frustrated with it. I had to delete it off Xbox. But
Mm,
yeah, that was during lockdown. I played that, and it was there was supposed to be a game released last month, and this could be a whole episode in itself. It was called The Day Before. It's turned out to be one of the biggest scams in gaming history, and perhaps I'll tell
really?
you about it one day. It was supposed to release 2 weeks ago. 4 days after it released, the studio shut down and they're refunding everybody.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah,
apparently that studio's done it before. Apparently
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a p
It's a thing. It's a thing, and it sucks ass because what they were promoting looked like one of the best games that I was never going to play.
really?
So yeah, I was definitely disappointed in that that didn't come off to be a real thing. But that looked for me like the level of what I would like from a survival zombie game. It wasn't as
Mm,
intricate as DayZ, but yeah, it launched and it was just terrible. It was absolutely terrible, and yeah, the company shut
yeah.
down.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah, it's
Wow.
interesting, but yeah, I mean, so for you, because you're flush now, you can make it rain. Are you going to get a new console?
Yes, I just need to get
Okay.
Christmas out of the way.
Hmm.
Yes, I am. I'm just getting Christmas out of the way because we've still got a few things to buy. She doesn't know I'm going to, but yes, 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 I am.
So the all important question: what are you going for? Are you going to go for an Xbox or a PlayStation?
Do you know what? This is really hard, but I think
Hmm.
I'll probably end up getting both eventually because of Bethesda. But initially, I think I want to get a PlayStation because I really, really want to play Spider Man.
Fair. That's cool.
You know what I
And
mean?
if you do that, I am going to lend you. I've got Spider Man actually, and Days Gone both on disc, so I can actually lend you both of them.
Yeah.
So I
Last
really
of
want
Us
you
as
to
well.
play. Oh my god, you are!
I've never
I'm
played
almost
Last of Us.
jealous. I'm almost jealous about the excitement of like the amount of fun you're going to have. So yeah, the now, this is a controversial. This is a controversial one. I'm sorry, I know I've detracted completely
No,
away from
no,
your initial God of War topic, but
it's fine. 'Cause I was going to ask you some other bits as well, so that's fine. You can.
yeah, I mean, for me, Days Gone, I think I've actually enjoyed that more than Last of Us. Last of Us for me is almost a
Ooh.
perfect game. I think it's freaking amazing, but I put more time and enjoyed more time in Days Gone, and yeah, that for me is one of my favorite games. It is just so good.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think PlayStation is definitely probably where I'm gonna go. There's a few games, so I want to get Spider Man, probably get Last of Us. Days Gone, you've talked about those, and I have seen videos. It does look phenomenal, so I'll probably get that. When I get Baldur's Gate 3, um, I might get Hogwarts Legacy, but I'm not sure because I would say I'd get it more for Rachel, but I don't think she gives a shit.
Hmm.
So I might
I
get
think
Hogwarts Legacy.
you would like that Ghost of Tsushima or
Yeah,
Tsushima. I think that would be up your street as well. I haven't played
yeah,
that. My cousin said it's absolutely phenomenal.
yeah. So my other question then for you, as this is an episode of reflection, what has been your favorite geek things that have happened this year? And that could be movies or games. So what have been your favorite, like maybe a movie that came out or games that you've seen or played, or even just like wholesome moments you've had? Like, what is your favorite geek thing that's happened this year?
Well, Tears of the Kingdom, I would say, was
Mm,
probably one of the highlights, especially of gaming. Although interestingly, I haven't revisited that game since I completed it, which was strange because I did revisit Breath of the Wild quite a lot. Have I actually played anything else? I actually don't know. I can't think of anything else that I've done or watched in that way. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom for me was just it was a culmination of like anticipation in a way that I thought Breath of the Wild was so good. I just thought to myself, how the hell are they going to make a game better than that? And they
mm,
did in ways that I could
mm.
never have thought was what they would do.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think Tears of the Kingdom just is the highlight for me in geekiness. In terms of TV and what have you like that, I tell you what, I've just finished watching all of Smallville. So as I've spoken about before,
nice,
I've been watching like Smallville, like 45-minute episode every time I have lunch. And I've just finished all 10 seasons of it. And
nice.
that was I think probably my favorite interpretation of definitely of Superman in any media that I've never
Mm.
read the comic books, but just in all the films. Almost one of my favorite comic book interpretations, I think, apart from the Dark Knight trilogy, I would say, because
Mm.
it's just so good, and the ending is like it's a bit rushed, but when you see him put the suit on for the last 5 minutes of the very last episode, you're like, "Fuck yeah!" And then they play the
Mm.
old original music, and it's got all the cameos like Dean Kane and Terry Hatcher from Lewis and Clark or whatever it was. The original Superman was in it. I can't remember what his name was now. The original Lois Lane was in it. The original Lana Lang was. It had all these old like Easter eggs throughout the whole lot, which is really good. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah. What
So
about
yeah,
the Last of Us series?
was that this year. Jesus Christ, it
Yeah.
was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was good. That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I haven't watched Ahsoka yet. I know you've been watching that, so that is something. Do you know what? I still haven't watched Mandalorian season 3. I realized yesterday. So yeah, I still haven't caught up
Man.
with that. Yeah, I might catch up with that, but I keep on looking. I've told you before, like we're trying to make our way through Rebels and the other one, but we haven't watched it in weeks, so it's going to take me a long time to get
Ah.
around to that. But what
Yeah.
about yours? What's your favorite geek inspired moments then?
I would say Tears of the Kingdom, definitely. I
Mm,
I liked Tears of the Kingdom. It's a shame they're not doing a DLC. Um, that's a shame. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more out of it. I really, really enjoyed the game, and I played quite a lot of it. But a little bit more out of it would be nice because I just want to play more in that world.
mm,
Tears of the Kingdom, Guardians 3, I really liked.
let's go shout.
Guardians 3, I thought was fucking awesome. Then I've actually had a bit of a reignition of my love for Star Wars this year because I've watched a lot of the series because I watched Mandalorian season 3 and then I'm watching Ahsoka at the moment. So my love for Star Wars at the moment's on a high.
Mm,
And it's amazing. I was talking to Rachel about it the other day because she's never watched any, but she's watching a series with me. So she's asking me loads of questions. And what I love is that the episode 1, 2, and 3 got fucking slated when it came out, right? I mean,
hmm
so bad that, like, the guy who played Jar Jar Binks nearly killed himself. Hayden Christensen or whatever his name is, like, stopped doing movies, you know? Um, and now there's, like, a massive resurgence of love for the first 3 movies.
Yeah, yeah,
Not the for
yeah.
the 1, 2, and 3, not the first 3, but for 1, 2, and 3. And I grew up watching 1, 2, and 3, so I actually really liked them.
Mm,
'Cause I was a kid, and watching
yeah, yeah.
I didn't really understand. I was just like, "Lightsabers and aliens, this is cool."
This is
So
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I really liked it. So I've had a bit of a resurgence for Star Wars. So I'd say, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, Guardians 3, Star Wars, and also I mean, I've not played it as much as I liked, but I started playing D&D, and that I fucking love that. So I listen to a lot of D&D podcasts. So that's a big thing for me. But yeah, I think like you said, Tears of the Kingdom definitely was such a good game. And if I had more time to game, I probably would have said something like Baldur's Gate 3, but I haven't
Mm,
played it, so
yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah, I'm with you on Star Wars. Like seeing them get redemption, especially
Mm.
Hayden Christensen, because I for me, and I'm a bit of an outlier on this. Revenge of the Sith, episode 3, is probably my favorite Star Wars film. I
Oh,
fucking
wow.
love it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I think it is such a good. I just yeah, I like the where you see him turn to the dark side and the big lightsaber fight at the end of that. For me, it's
Mm.
just the best. Do you know what? I was actually looking through. I was looking through the Star Wars timeline on Disney Plus yesterday, and I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." It was all in order, all in order, all in order, and it got past episode 6, and then there was a couple of TV series. And then there was episodes 7, 8, and 9. I was like, which I completely have just taken away from my head. I
Yeah.
don't want them to exist. I really don't. I
Yeah.
think I kept on making so many excuses for them when they came out. I was like, okay, yeah, episode 7 is okay, but I'm going to judge it by 8 and 9. And then episode 8 came out. I was like, yeah, all right, I can kind of see where they're going. Don't like what they've done with Luke, but hopefully they'll redeem themselves
Yeah.
in episode 9. 9 came out. I was like, fuck it, I'm never watching it again. And
Do
I
you
haven't
th
watched it since.
Do you think, though, we're doing exactly the same thing as what the people who grew up with the original Star Wars did for the prequels?
But bear in mind, I grew up with the original ones.
Oh, yeah,
So
you're old
the
as well. Yeah.
yeah, I was to be fair, I was a teenager when
Mm.
episode 1, 2, and 3 came out. But no, I don't think anyone likes it. So Adam Driver was interviewed the other day, and he said he played Kylo Ren, and the initial plan for Kylo Ren was the antithesis of Darth Vader, whereas Darth Vader gets convinced by Luke to see the light side
Mhm.
over the original trilogy. Kylo Ren was supposed to go the opposite way. He was supposed to get darker and darker and darker and become the ultimate evil in the end of the last
Oh,
one.
wow.
But they changed it on its head at some point, and yeah, that's when it went for me
Yeah,
downhill. And what they done with Luke.
what I didn't like is that, like, the first one was great. I liked the first one, The Force Awakens, and then the second one, for some reason, there was like, because the first one, afterwards, there was so many fan theories about, oh my god, Snoke is this is going to happen with this, and then for some reason, every potential good thing that could have come out of the first one. I don't know if it's because they changed directors or what, because it was Ryan Johnson, wasn't it, for two, and I
He
think it was
Two,
JJ
yeah.
Abrams
JJ
for what?
Abrams. 1 and
Yeah,
3, I
so
think.
they
Well, 7 and
so
9, yeah.
yeah, 7 and 9, and so and Ryan Johnson just essentially just scrapped everything and just went, nah,
Mhm.
I'm not doing that, doing what I want, and then they had to like recoup it somehow in 9, and that's what fucked me up. I just didn't get it, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. Visually, I think there were some stunning shots in those, but
Yeah.
it made me appreciate Rogue One even more because Rogue One I
Oh
thought was
fuck.
just such a phenomenal film. You haven't watched Andor yet, have you?
No, Rogue One's my favorite Star
So
Wars one.
why have you not watched Andor? That surprises
I
me
know.
even more, man.
I need to
You need
watch
to
it.
watch
Yeah,
that. It is so good.
yeah. I also just like anything that has Donnie Yen in. So
This is true. Yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah,
watched. I watched Blade 2. We watched all 3 Blade films like earlier on in the summer or so. I forgot he was in the second one, and yeah,
yeah.
he
He's
is
so
so
good.
freaking cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Well, anyway, let's move out of Geek Corner because we could talk about
Mm,
this shit all day.
yeah, we're good.
Right. Well, end of the year, Jack. Do you have any favorite workouts of the year? Any? Oh, it doesn't even have to be workouts. Just, just bits of training, this, that, and the other. Do you have anything for this year where you're like, oh fuck, that was awesome?
Deadlifted 237.5 kilo. No, was it 237 or 232.5? I can't remember one of those two. Yeah,
Mm.
I'd done a heavy deadlift, so that was cool.
Yeah.
That's the bit that sticks out the most, apart from injuring my hip flexor. That's the other part that sticks out the most, but that was recently. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. That was my biggest highlight. I'm enjoying my training now, which I talked about a couple of episodes back. So that's fun. I won't go into that again. But yeah,
That's
I think that
a
was
lot of
it.
weight. 200 and whatever. Do you say 237?
I can't remember if it was 237.5 or 232.5. It was one of those. I think it might have been 232.5 actually. Was it? I
Mate,
actually can't
that's
remember.
strong.
It'll be on my Instagram somewhere. I'll have a look.
What's the most mental thing about your lifting is that you have no help. So like you don't use a belt, you don't use grippers or anything like that.
Mm.
Um I'm like, oh, give me everything. I'm like, give me all the tools.
You know,
So yeah, that's
it's
that's strong.
more like just I didn't ever have access to it more than anything else. Like that is the
Mm,
main reason why. So I've never got around 237.5 is written up on my board there. So that was my bit. I didn't quite make the 240, but yeah, that was fun. But yeah, funny enough, I tried lifting with straps. I think you might have even been there, and I
mm,
couldn't do it. It was like, no, this
yeah,
feels weird. Like I physically couldn't pick it up. So yeah, that was completely without aid. That was quite fun, and I kind of used a bit of ignorance, but then I found out what was on the bar. So my warm up to that, I just got Ben to load up the bar for me, and then
yeah,
at
yeah.
the end of it, I missed it the first time and then hit it the second time. But I don't know if you were there, but a couple of weeks ago I lifted 230, just really easy, like
Nice,
really easy. Yeah, and I haven't even been strength training as such. I've been more high reps.
nice.
So yeah, it's I was going to be again. I explained this on the podcast. I was going to be going for powerlifting again for my birthday to hit another PB, but because I hurt my hip flexor, I wasn't going to do that. So that'd probably be a summertime thing.
Yeah, awesome.
What
Awesome.
about you?
Yeah, I can't remember if I benched 130 this year or if it was the year before. I can't remember. I
Um,
literally I have no idea. It might have been in winter last year, so I can't remember.
shit, I can't. I remember it happening, but yeah, I can't remember when it was either.
No, fuck knows. But if that was this year, that was a highlight.
Mm.
I don't know. My training's been a bit all over this year. I was training with Sam for a big stint, and that was really fun having a training partner again. I think that's been one of my highlights, is having a training partner again. And I'm noticing it now training at the gym I train at. I'm really enjoying training with a group of people, and everybody just bigging everybody up and just pushing you. I think that's been one of my
Mm.
big highlights for sure. Other than that, I haven't had any crazy PBs or anything this year. I've just my strength seems to be at a level now that doesn't feel like it's going to get any lower, which is nice. Oh, that's it. I think I benched 100 for 15, which was quite nice.
Nice, that is good. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
so that was a nice little PB. That's a nice little rep PB. But yeah, I'm because now I'm kind of in a new tunnel of moving up, which is nice. So we'll
Mm.
see what that does. But yeah, I guess for me, yeah, it was more for some reason it's just bench. I'm only my bench is doing really well. But yeah, no. Oh, and I managed to monkey press the 24, which was pretty fun.
We got you know, Jack, who we train. We got him doing the monkey
Yeah,
press the other day. Yeah, he was loving that with the 8,
yeah,
and it was still challenging enough. So
yeah.
yeah, explain what monkey press is so people can get a
So if you don't know
visualization.
what a monkey press is, people, you're hanging off a bar on one hand, and then you curl up. It could be a dumbbell or a kettlebell. Where you're doing
Hmm.
kettlebells, curl up a kettlebell and then overhead press it while still hanging off in one hand. And I managed to do the 24 kilo kettlebell. Oh, and I single arm press this year 56 kilos.
Holy shit!
That
Strict.
was a no, it was push,
I was
but
going to say.
still pretty good.
Yeah, man, that's very good. Yeah,
Well, tomorrow this might be one because tomorrow is still this
yeah.
year. I'm hoping to push press 102 kilos, so we'll see.
Ooh, nice. Single arm.
Yeah, I wish. Imagine just one giant shoulder.
Yeah, well, next episode we're going to be talking about what we're going to be aiming to do next year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it'll
why I
be
figured. I figured that's
yeah,
where
yeah,
this is going to go. So
yeah, that's
let's
good.
move over to study time. And study time for today is the study on sleep. The title is Very Irregular Sleep Linked to Higher Risk of Dementia. So, any of you people that don't think they need to sleep, you need to listen to this one. And this is from the American Academy of Neurology. And I'm going to just quickly read this stuff here. So, people who have very irregular sleep patterns may have a higher risk of dementia than those who have more regular sleep patterns. According to new research, the study does not prove that sleep irregularity causes dementia, it only shows an association. So let's get that out of the way first. This does not sleeping doesn't mean you're going to get it, it just may be associated. Sleep regularity is how consistent you are at going to sleep and waking up at the same time each day. Sleep health recommendations often focus on getting the recommended amount of sleep, which is 7 to 9 hours a night. But there is less emphasis on maintaining regular sleep schedules. Our findings suggest that the regularity of a person's sleep is an important factor when considering a person's risk of dementia. The study involved 88,094 people with an average age of 62 in the UK. They were followed for an average of 7 years. Participants who wore a wrist device for 7 days that measured their sleep cycle. Researchers then calculated the regularity of participants' sleep. They determined the probability of being in the same sleep state, asleep or awake, at any two time points 24 hours apart, averaged over 7 days. A person who sleeps and wakes at the exact same times each day would have a sleep regularity index of 100, while a person who sleeps and wakes at different times every day would have a score of 0. Researchers then looked at medical data to identify which participants developed dementia and found 480 people developed the disease. Researchers found links between sleep regularity scores and risk of dementia. Compared to those with an average sleep regularity index, the risk of dementia was highest for people who had the most irregular sleep. People in the lowest 5th percentile had the most irregular sleep, with an average score of 41. Those in the highest 95% percentile had the most regular sleep, with an average score of 71. People between those two groups have an average sleep regularity of 60. After adjusting for age, sex, genetic risk of Alzheimer's disease, researchers found that those with the most irregular sleep were 53% more likely to develop dementia than those in the middle group. For people with the most regular sleep, researchers found they did not have a lower risk of developing dementia than the people in the middle group. So between middle and being best, it doesn't really matter, but it's being shit is that's the problem. Effective sleep health education combined with behavioral therapies can improve irregular sleep patterns. Based on our findings, people with irregular sleep may only need to improve their sleep regularity to average levels compared to very high levels to prevent dementia. Future research is needed to confirm our findings. So this is quite interesting, actually, because it's not about the amount of sleep you're getting, and that is talked about a lot, but we have talked about it before on our sleep episodes, etc., on having the same sleep wake and sleep times every day is super important to improving your quality of sleep and just your energy levels on the general. But also now it may be linked to reducing your risk of dementia, which nobody fucking wants to get dementia. So that's why it's really important. And what that means is if you go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6, for instance, doing that every day, not just Monday to Friday, but also on the weekends, not having a lie-in every fucking weekend and not getting up, trying to have the same every single day. And this is where it sucks if you're on shifts. If you're a shift worker and you wake up you got to be at work 6 one morning, but the next day you're finishing at 11 at night, that's a problem. So if you can get out of that process of working shifts, then great. If not, then there's something else you're going to need to do. But yeah, regular sleep patterns are super, super important.
And one of the annoying things about this article is it doesn't show what the window was of time. So it's saying exact times would be 100% score, but does it mean exact to the minute? If someone's saying roughly fell asleep at 9 p.m., woke up at 5 a.m. Like it's, I wonder what the windows are. So basically, if people are thinking, "Oh fuck me, do I have to get my sleep down to the minute?" which is then going to go even more, like could stress people out even more. I wonder if I expect it's in a proper study about what that is, but yeah, I wonder what that is. I wonder what the window is for that. How the scores work out. I guess it has to be different depending on what the hours of sleep were as well. But it is super interesting though, and that regular sleep. So one of the things that I always try and tell people is that when you're messing with your sleep cycle, you're basically giving yourself jet lag every day. So no wonder you're going to feel like shit if your sleep pattern is completely interrupted. On the flip side, if you're doing a lot of traveling and your sleep system's fucked up, you're not going to feel any worse. if you if you are doing that over the weekends, which I am definitely guilty of sometimes, then yeah, essentially, I'm going to give myself jet lag, and it's going to feel worse getting up on the Monday if I've been sleeping shit over the weekend.
Yeah. So there's obviously, I'm not saying never have a late night, you know what I mean, or never have a lie-in, but trying to, like, 80% of the time, it's the 80-20 rule as always. 80% of the time, try to be on top of it and accommodate for the times where you are going to be going off the rails a bit, but you shouldn't be out clubbing every week. You shouldn't be, if you're doing nights and stuff, then try and avoid that if you can as much as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Before we go into the hot topic, I really need the toilet. So if we could pause.
I will pause.
And we're back.
How was it for you?
Oh, mate, I felt like I was peeing forever. I didn't think it was going to stop. You get those ones and you're like, I feel like I've been here for a while now. Like, am I okay? Is my blood, is my, like, all the fluid in my body coming out of me? I don't
Just start to shrink into yourself as it just empties out. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to our hot topic. And this one is, we keep doing these discussionary ones. We say this every time, but
Mhm.
I literally haven't put any pointers down. So, because this is more like our thoughts. So, our hot topic for today is our biggest takeaways from a year of podcasting and starting a new business. Me and Jack decided a year ago that we wanted to start a podcast, and then off of that we decided actually we think there's scope to start a new business, and then the business developed into another thing, and it's all ever growing. And so I figured we'd give our lessons just from the first year, because it's a weird year, the first year of this
Mm.
sort of thing, and it's new kind of to both of us. Some areas are new more to others, it's all a bit strange. So I figured we'll talk about today. So the results is I want to help you guys learn from our successes and our mistakes. The drivers are we are open and honest about our journeys. We always have been. And our actions are we're just going to discuss our thoughts really on the past year of starting a podcast and starting a new business.
Mm.
So Jack, how firstly, I mean, fucking how's it been? How have you found it? How have you found doing this for a fucking year, mate?
So, as you know, I have done a podcast before and I've had online businesses before. So, that was kind of, I thought I was going into it with my eyes open. I will say about the podcast is that this hasn't at any point seemed like work. Like,
No.
this has always been entertaining. I think that's almost why we wanted to keep it a little bit separate from RDA strength systems in a way, is
Mhm.
because this for us it's a good way to make sure we're constantly on the same page, we're interested in the same shit,
Mm.
and we're doing this for our fun and for our own education as well as helping other people.
Mhm.
So this I found really fun, way better than when I was doing my own podcast. I stopped doing my last one because I wanted a co-host, and that's, so that's what you are like. You are, I couldn't ask for a better co-host because it's amazing. We're interested in the same things, we enjoy we
Oh.
find the same things fun, we look at
Yeah.
training very similar.
Mm.
So yeah, like, it's, I could have found, I think I could have found people on the fitness side of things who I'd like to do a show with, and people on the geek side of things that I would have liked to do a show with. But
Mm.
luckily, we have the same interests over both. So for me, sticking with just purely the podcast for the moment, this has been a joy, and it still is a joy to make, like, when we record.
Yeah. And I think that's really important, right? And I think anybody that's looking to do this kind of thing, so from all the, it can be very easy to think, oh, this is gonna fucking steamroll. We're gonna do so well. We've got lots. Right, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not. We're not.
No.
We've
How
not
much
got.
money have we made from the podcast, Josh?
We've lost money because we spent more. We spend more on it than we make. So, but that's not the point. Is that
Mhm.
all the advice you get about podcasts is, unless you've got some crazy new thing that loads of people can listen to, or loads of celebrities, it takes time, right?
Mhm.
Alex Hormozy says that it took his podcast 6 years till it started hitting off.
Something like that,
You know,
yeah.
yeah. So it takes time, but the important thing is something that's not enjoyable is going to be very hard to spend that amount of time on, right?
Mhm.
So I think one of the biggest takeaways from this podcast is, fucking, if you're going to do it about something you like talking about, and do it with somebody you can talk to for
Mhm.
that amount of time. You know what I mean? That was my biggest fear coming into this podcast when we started. I was like, I can't talk for that long.
Yeah, I remember you saying that to me, and
Yeah,
I was like, "No, you'll be fine, mate. You'll be fine."
yeah, can't talk for
I
that long.
reckon if we didn't have any cuts on this, we could probably talk for. I reckon we
Mm,
could easily do 2 to 3 hour podcasts each time.
yeah,
We wouldn't get any fucking listeners at all, but I
no,
reckon we could genuinely do it. So yeah.
yeah, that's crazy, right? That's crazy.
Mm,
Yeah, and also I'm surprised at myself and yourself by how much not only we know, because obviously we know stuff because it's our job and we've been in this
mhm.
job for a decade each. I'm surprised by how much you know, but I'm also surprised by how much like our knowledge has improved just from doing this, you know? So like that's another thing is that because if you're not wanting to do a podcast to just be good at podcasting, but you're wanting to get better in whatever business, venture, hobby, thing that you're into, doing a podcast will make you get better
Yeah,
because
teaching. They always say teaching
yeah,
is the best way to learn. Like, yeah, I
you
completely
have to
agree.
put the research in, right? You have
Mm,
to learn new things. You have to go. I've had to go. Shit, I need a topic for fucking next week's podcast. What am I going to talk about? Maybe I'll just like listen to a podcast, or I'll read a book, or I'll read an article, or I'll do some research on some topic that maybe my brain's not 100% on, and then all of a sudden I've gained new knowledge and I can
mm.
understand it more because I'm trying to teach other people.
Yeah, and it compounds. It just gets better and better and better each
Mm.
time. And I'm going to give a quick shout out to Laura now. So Laura, well, I don't think we've spoken about her on the podcast, but she's actually
No, we haven't.
helping us do. No, we haven't. Okay, well, she's helping us do some marketing and bits and pieces like that. But so the amount of times me and Josh have had the discussion of, okay, should we carry on with the geeky stuff on the podcast, or should we focus
Mm.
more on business and fitness and stuff like that? And we very nearly got to a point where we completely got rid of Geek Corner just so
Yeah.
we could appeal more to people in the business realm. But then Laura was like, "Well, this is your voice. Like,
Mm.
why why are we listening to you if you're not going to be talking about the stuff you're interested in?" So I just want to give a quick shout out to her for actually recognizing that and saying that to us. And we're like, yeah, actually, that's a good point. So this is why we went for a few weeks with current news, which we will still do. It won't always be Geek Corners, but then we're just going to fold everything that we're interested about into it. And
Mm.
if people want to skip past it, that's fine. Like that's absolutely
Mm.
fine. But at the end of the day, it keeps us interested in it as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts from the podcast. And I don't know about you, but I don't see a point where we're not doing a podcast
No.
of this
No.
style. So yeah.
No. And I think that's really important, right? Is it one thing I have noticed in this first year is it can be very, very easy to get pulled away from who you actually are, right?
Hmm.
It can be very easy to get pulled away from that because you listen to other podcasts or you see other creators doing cool stuff and you're like, fuck, maybe I need to be more like that guy, right?
Hmm.
Maybe I need to be more like them because they're really successful and they're doing something interesting. So maybe I should be like that and talk about that or do this. When actually, but then you start doing things that's against your own intrinsic values because it's not actually who you really are, right? So, um, trying to in the first year, especially, and we don't know what it's going to be like going forwards, but especially in the first year, trying to stay true to yourself is seems fucking nails. It seems really hard. I think so anyway. I
Yeah.
found that's like really hard, but we've managed it, which is great. We had a little bit where we were like, "Man, I'm not sure," but we've pushed through and we're still here. We're still doing it. So yeah, that's if you're going to start something like this, try as hard as you can not to get pulled by other people. Take inspiration from it, but don't try and be like somebody else because
Yeah.
they're successful because they are them, not because you're going to be them. You're not going to be successful. You know?
Yeah. It's a buzzword at the moment, and I've kind of fallen out in love with it because it is a buzzword. But authenticity is a real freaking thing. Like
Mm,
the fact that and I remember when we very first sat down with our friend Grant to go through like branding and stuff like that, and ideas of how we want to develop our our identity as a business. Like authenticity was
hmm
definitely one of the big ones, and it is a buzzword. People use it too much, but it's something that we want to be. We want to be very truthful, very authentic with who we are, where we're at, and all that sort of stuff. So to do it any other way wouldn't be doing
mm,
it justice, and we would probably fall out of love with it quite quick. So that is, yeah,
mm.
it's very important.
Yeah.
Moving on to the business side of things, this year has been very, very weird because it's
Mm,
always just been me before. This is the first time where it's not been where it's been me and someone else. So it, we've pivoted quite a few times because we've had different opportunities come up. And
yeah.
I think we've known for a while now that 2024 is going to be where it all kicks off for us because the stars are lining up for some relatively big things. But the journey to get to there is going to be insane. Because we initially thought that most of our revenue was going to come from podcast listeners, and that's what we were gearing towards initially. But then I don't know if you're remembering this, Josh, or like whether you had this in mind when you had this idea for a podcast episode. But when when we first done it, the idea was to use the podcast as leverage to get people involved in us, and then that's where we'd make our money from is by doing the
Mm,
programs for people like that. And why that still might be something we go down in the future. In the short term now, we have completely different things, which is why the podcast is so separate from what RDA Strength
mm,
Systems is for now. Again, in the future, they might come together a bit more solidly, but for now, they're quite separate entities, and
yeah.
it's that has also led to an interesting thing.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things actually is that I'd give people for their first year of going into business is to be. I think one of our biggest problems initially is we weren't patient, and we weren't patient, and we kept go. The reason we fucking changed so much is because we're going, oh fuck, no, that we've got to do this instead, or no, we've got to do this instead. And I know it was also because of opportunities, and
Mm,
me and you are like ideas people, and when you got two ideas people all the time just throwing out ideas, that can be a problem. So it's great, but it's also why we're in. So it's being a bit more patient, I think, is really important. But what helped us is we got a mentor. I
mhm,
think that if anybody's starting off a business, if wherever you can, we were very lucky in the sense that we didn't have to pay for a mentor.
mhm,
We've been very, very lucky in that. Getting a mentor is, I would say, is really, really key because they're going to go, no, you're being silly. Just do this, you know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's kind of because me and you, we're PT brain, um, we're not fully business brain, right?
no,
We haven't built that yet. We're not getting there. We're not marketing. We're not this that, and the other. We're although we have snippets of knowledge from everywhere, our brain is PT. So
mhm,
it can be very easy to think of 1,000 different things to do, but having somebody there that can go look through it all and go, what your ideas are really great, but you need to focus on this first.
mhm. Yeah, and that's it. We have been very lucky in that front, and I
Yeah.
think as we grow RDA, we're going to be able to delegate the stuff that we need to delegate out to other people, and that will then
hmm
allow us to focus on our strengths. But that's the thing with any entrepreneurial journey, right? You usually start out
Mm.
as a team of one or two, and then
Yeah.
you have to do everything. You wear all the hats, so there's definitely going to be learning curves. And for a for the time we're doing this as well, like the market and just the state of the world currently, it's an interesting time to be doing something like what we're doing. There's so
Mm.
much opportunity out there, but there's also so much like fear around spending money and excess money and stuff like that.
Mm.
But we're just like, well, I think we're like, well, let's see what happens. But then just that focus that we're brought from external people. Again, like Laura has helped us with that, the mentor that we use, and even just talking to clients, people who have built other
Mm.
businesses in other areas, and they've just been like, they've put ideas forward, and it's like, actually, yeah, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And what I think is, I've always liked the statement that we are the culmination of everything that's led up till this point. So
Mm.
I always think that, like, the things that I've done, I've had a couple of online businesses. One of them was actually relatively successful. It was allowing me to live quite comfortably. But I've taken what I learned from that. I've taken what I learned during lockdown when I first started looking into the online space. I've taken all of this and all of that is a culmination of the stuff I know now. The same with you as well, where everything you have done,
Mm.
you are now a culmination of all those individual things you've done. And now bringing all this stuff together, I think
Mm.
we're going to refine it more and more until it becomes what we want it to be.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So that's it, isn't it? It's learning from a lot of your past mistakes and a lot of different
Mm,
stuff. Yeah, and when it comes to starting your own business, guys, you don't need. What I will say to people is, you do not need all the time in the world, right? So yes, it would be wonderful if I had all the time in the world, but we don't. So throughout this whole time of starting a business and starting a podcast, we've both been working, right? So
mhm.
you have a full-time job. I had this same full-time job, but now actually I've got fucking 3 jobs. But I'm actually trying to run 2 businesses at the same time now, but it's you don't need all the time in the world to start on the passion and start building momentum. The podcast, it's probably about 3 hours of recording, and then you've probably got to do a couple of hours of editing to put it out, so that's doable. And you don't even have to do podcasts as long as we do. You can do a podcast for half an hour. The
Mm,
business thing, the thing I would say that took the longest was branding, naming, the fucking name.
yeah,
The That's the worst bit, man. Oh my god, that was shit. It's just
yeah.
what about this name? No, I don't
Takes
like
so
it. What about this name? I don't like it.
long.
What about this name? I don't like it.
It's so hard. And the thing is, most people as well, like most established business people, and I bet in 5 years we'll be saying, is like, don't fucking waste time on that. You can rebrand
Yeah,
later. It's good to get it right
exactly.
the first time, granted, but yeah, it saps so much energy. And everything I've ever done, it's always been is like getting the logo right, getting the name right, getting all this stuff right. It's
Mm,
small stuff, but my head just doesn't feel like it can move on until it's somewhere like in the range of where I want it
yeah.
to be. And it just feels like it's the biggest thing in the world. I tell you what it reminds me of, and I don't know if you had this problem as well. When I first became a PT, my
Mm,
mind was like, how do I program? How do I program properly? How do I
mm,
make the ideal program? And I spent so much time thinking about programming. Now it's just second nature to me. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's kind of that headache. It's like, shit, how do I know I'm a good PT if I don't know how to program? And I'm a member of so many PT groups, and it's still one of the most common questions I see is like, how do you guys know how to program properly? Because let's
mm,
be honest, like PT qualifications are shit. They don't really
yeah.
teach you that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was the same sort of thing. Like, whatever your endeavor is, you're going to find something that seems like it is the entire world. Whereas all
Mm,
you have to do is start moving. All you have to do,
yeah,
like, as a PT, you actually just need to start getting your clients moving with a little assessment or something like that, and then work out
yeah.
what they need. With a logo, you just need to get a name and get like something out there. You can change it later on and just get started.
That's one thing I would say, actually, though, is if you're wanting to start a service-based business, you actually are. Our situation is a little bit more complicated. So we unfortunately have some contractual issues. We can't do locals, so we
Mm,
have to only train people online. So then you kind of need more of a brand to be able to do that. But if you have a service-based business where you can do it locally, I wouldn't worry about the branding at the start. I
no.
would worry about getting the customers, getting in work, getting word of mouth, getting reviews, getting
Mhm.
the evidence of the work that you're doing, and getting as much of that as you fucking can to start with. If you're doing a service-based business, that's all you need to do. That's why for my gardening business it's been so easy, because I've just got the work, done it, and then got more work from that, right? That's why it's been so easy. It's been harder for us with RDA because of unfortunate contractual issues. So, but if you're starting a service business, don't stress out about the branding and stuff straight away. That will come because
Especially
you,
if it's just you. If you're one person and sole
yeah,
trader, just call it your name and add training to it if you're a
mm,
PT. Like, yeah,
yeah,
like so my very first business was called J Buffy Training because
yeah, yeah,
I couldn't be bothered. I was wasting too much time trying to think of a name. Even to be honest, if we were doing in person, Josh, and we couldn't think of something, then we'd probably just call it like JJ Training or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like something that is just, it doesn't matter if you can put, if you're like you say in a service based industry, especially an in person one, you can do so much without having to worry about the name, and you can
yeah,
develop that later.
yeah, definitely. And that's what's really important. And then what I think is what a lot of people don't get right, and I think why we do so well as PTs and why my gardening's done so well is you customer service, man, is so fucking
Hmm.
important. The way in which you talk to people and approach them and the way you make them feel is one of the most important things, because we're so personable with clients and we talk to them, and we're polite and we're nice, or we have a laugh, or we can adapt to personalities. And the same with my customers, I'll have a nice chat with them and reassure them, I do what it is, and go that extra mile when need be. That is what's going to set you aside from other people in a service-based industry for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it's most of it's just about being human, and like what we said earlier
Mm,
on, being yourself. Like people will come to you in the first place because they've heard good things. People will stay with you because they start to appreciate you as a person and your work ethic and how you do a
mm,
good job. That relates to whatever you're doing, whether you are a gardener, whether you are a PT, whether you're whatever you do. Like it's being
mm.
yourself and being a real person with it, and empathy and all of that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
I would say one of our mistakes was definitely trying to do everything. Like
Mm,
trying to do everything whilst also working other jobs, right? So
mhm,
we're working other jobs and also trying to be every single part of the business with not really the best knowledge, and trying to also reach everyone. You know,
mm.
yes, we had a client avatar that we were trying to hit, but it was also a case of we were just everything everywhere all at once. You know,
Mhm,
great movie, but yeah, I think outsource where you can for sure. Outsource where you can, and or um, one thing at a time. Small steps. Milo challenge, just one thing at a time. Slowly
mhm.
increase the workload once the other stuff's doing all right.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. If you try to, granted, some things you're going to have to do if you're just starting out because you can't afford to do the same as us. We can't afford to hire everyone we want yet, but eventually we're gonna be in that position where we can. And in regards to trying to hit everybody, that's something else that we can see changing in the future as well. We know more and more who the kind of people that we want to
Hmm.
be attracting into our business are. So it will come with time sometimes, to be fair. And this is the biggest tip that I could ever share with anybody when it comes to anything, whether it's business or training or whatever, is just fucking start. Like just start, and you
Mm,
can refine it as you go. Because if you're I if you might not know who you like working with. You might not know what you enjoy doing, what parts of the business you enjoy doing yet. To understand these things, you've just got to start, and then you'll
mm,
refine it more. I've had a few revelations about myself, about exactly how I enjoy interacting with people. I've learned
mm.
it's always a learning curve. You're always going to learn more about yourself, about what you want to do, and about how you want to progress. But you need to be starting something. You won't be able to get a business plan laid out and follow that 100% the first time around. It won't happen like that. It's good to have a
Mm,
plan. It's good to try and stick to a plan, but you've got to be flexible enough to change, because you will change and your ideas will change until you've been through it.
yeah, definitely, definitely, man. Yeah, it's still, there's still a lot of lessons to learn, and we still got a fucking way to go with all of this. But I thought it'd be quite cool every year y- that we get another year in, we do this and kind of also reflect on the past year's comments and see what we think, because we
Mm.
might think in a year's time that we're just chatting fucking shit. You know what I mean?
Next year we'll either be recording this from exactly the same places,
Yeah.
or we'll be doing it from our yacht. So
Mm.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? Who
The
knows?
RDA, the RDA yacht.
The RDA yacht, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Also, anybody that's listening, we are looking to get guests on, and we've got some lined
Mm.
up, some interesting guests lined up. I would love to hear if you've got any particular guests. Obviously, don't be ridiculous. We're not going to get Joe Rogan on because we're not that level yet. But any guests that you think would be really interesting that you'd love to hear us talk to, I'd love to know, because I want to get some interesting people on and talk to them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and that could be it doesn't just have to be from health or fitness. It can be from any type, like from anything, because we usually know how to have interesting conversations with people. So
Yeah.
it's one of the perks of being in front of random people an hour at a time, several hours a
Mhm.
day, every day. Like, you learn how to
Yeah.
talk to people. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah. I was talking to a neighbor of a gardener I was working on the other day, and he was an executive private jet pilot for
Wow.
40 years. Right, he clocked 38,000 hours of flying or something, which that's so 10,000 hours is like almost and is like an hour a day for like almost 20 years or something
Oh
stupid
my
like that.
god.
So
Jesus Christ.
38,000 hours of flying. But he said that obviously a lot of famous people, a lot of this, that, and the other, but he said he would go, they would fly to some place on holiday, and he would just chill, he would just wait for them for 3 weeks at this place that they're staying at and then fly back. How fucking awesome is that? Imagine the
Whoa.
stories.
Yeah,
Imagine
man.
that. Oh, we're going to the Maldives. Let's just fly there for 3 weeks, and you've just got to stay and wait for us. Fucking okay, sure. And now he just
Gee,
builds boats in his garage.
do you know, I was saying to someone, what was it, the other day, last week, I think. He's considering doing his PT degree. He's still a teenager. He's 19. And I said, if I was in your shoes right now, I
Mm,
would become a PT and go and work on a ship somewhere, because
mm,
you, on a yacht or a cruise liner, go see the world with
mm,
it. You get paid. Yeah, okay, cruise liners, you don't get paid so well, but on a yacht especially, you usually work like 3 months off, 3 months off, 3 months on, 3 months off. Sorry, you get amazing tips. You could live for dirt cheap in somewhere like Vietnam or South America, somewhere like that, for the 3 months that you're not on. See of as
mm,
much of the world as possible. Save up a shitload of money. It's like when you see people do. It's like when you see people who go into the army and they don't spend their money on anything else, so they can come out and like buy a
mm,
house straight away. I was like, that would be my advice to someone who's like becoming a new PT as a
mm.
younger person, who's just like, go do that, because
Yeah.
that kind of lifestyle, being able to tell those sorts of stories, I think is a really good, like a really good thing to do.
Do you know who else is doing a sports science degree next year?
Go on.
Sam.
Is he? No way.
Yeah, so we've talked about him before. My client Sam, well, my mate Sam, but I also train him in power building. He's decided to do a sports science degree, so we might have somebody else we can use.
Amazing. Yeah. And we've
Yeah,
talked about having him on here before, actually. So that'll
yeah,
be a nice full circle kind of thing. That'd be amazing.
yeah. Anyway, we've kind of fully got off the hot topic now, so I'll give you, I'll give you today's joke, and today's joke. I've got a bloody load of them here. What is a vegan's favorite Christmas carol?
I don't know.
Soy to the world.
Oh my god, that was so bad. Like so bad. That was just terrible.
What do they sing at a snowman's birthday party?
I don't know.
Freeze a jolly good fellow.
Oh my god, I want to rip off my earlobes. Ugh.
What do you get when you cross a snowman with a vampire?
I don't know.
Frostbite. What do you call Santa when he stops moving?
I don't know.
Santa paws.
Oh my god.
What do you call an elf that runs away from Santa's workshop?
I don't know.
A rebel without a claws. What do you call a reindeer ghost?
I don't know.
Caribou.
Oh, for fuck's sake. No.
Yeah. What is it called when a snowman has a temper tantrum?
I don't know.
A meltdown.
I'm going to have a meltdown in a minute. How many of these have you got, Josh?
I've got fucking shitloads. Why do reindeer like Beyonce so much?
I don't know.
She slays.
What the fuck?
Slay. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Josh, where can they find us on this lovely Christmas day?
They can find us at the RDA Strength System on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. They can also find our podcasting group, The Lifting Lounge, if they want to ask us anything on Facebook regarding the podcast. We're also on YouTube, Lifting Lounge Podcast. Here we are. And if you want to sign up to our new year, starting January the 1st, 8-week transformation challenge, head to our website, www.therdsystem.com, and you can sign up to that.
You have until Sunday. You have until New Year's Eve to sign up, basically. But I would do it beforehand because we're releasing the materials. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, the materials are starting to go out the day after tomorrow.